Welcome to the deep dive. So, you sent over your APC Unit 3 materials, the lecture notes, the Quizlet on populations, the DTM, IPAT, all that good stuff. And the mission seems pretty clear. You can help you get prepped for this upcoming test. We need to pull out the key ideas.
Yeah, it looks like a really solid set of resources.
Right.
We've got population ecology, human demographics.
That's quite a bit.
It is. So we're not just going to list definitions. We want to connect the dots.
Right.
See why these things matter, whether it's for, I don't know, deer in a forest or, well, us.
Right. Billions of us.
Exactly. So maybe start with the basics, like how life reproduces and survives. Then maybe the math, and wrap up with human population stuff.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, let's start with those strategies, the R and K selection. It's more than just how many offspring, isn't it? It's like a whole life approach.
Totally. It's a spectrum, really. So K-selected species, think K for carrying capacity. They're sort of the quality over quantity crowd.
Okay.
They live a long time, mature slowly, have just a few offspring.
But they invest a lot in those few.
A huge amount of parental care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think elephants, whales, humans. Their populations tend to hang out near that carrying capacity, K. Pretty stable.
And then the R-selected R for rate of growth.
Yep. Polar opposites. Short lives, mature super fast, and just boom, tons of offspring.
Like oysters or spiders. Or most plants, even.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very little, if any, parental care. They basically play the numbers game, hoping a few make it. Their populations can explode, but also crash. Very boom and bust.
Now, the notes mention something about vulnerability, particularly for K-selected species. That seems important for the test.
Oh, absolutely. It's a key point. Our selected species, because they reproduce so fast, can often bounce back from disturbances. But K-selected species, they get hit hard.
Why is that? Just because they have fewer babies?
That's part of it, their low biotic potential. But it's also about generation time and genetics.
Okay.
Because K-selected populations are often smaller and stable, they tend to have less genetic diversity sort of floating around.
Less variety to draw on if things change.
Precisely. So when something hits a new disease, habitat loss, maybe an invasive species, which is often R-selected,
Right.
they can't adapt quickly. And because they take so long to reproduce, recovery takes forever, generations, even centuries sometimes. They're sort of specialized for stability, which makes them fragile when instability hits.
That really highlights their precariousness, and this links straight into those survivorship curves, right? Type
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3.
Exactly. K-selected species generally follow that type 1 curve.
High survival early on, then a steep drop-off in old age, like us.
Right. Most individuals live out a full lifespan, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
R-selected species are the opposite, type 3.
That's the one with the massive initial die-off.
Yeah, a huge drop right at the start. Think of an oak tree producing thousands of acorns or fish releasing millions of eggs. Most just don't make it past the very early stages.
It's a tough life out there for a type 3 youngster.
It really is. The strategy is just overwhelming odds.
And type 2, the middle ground.
That's the constant probability of death curve. Like squirrels or ducks, maybe some songbirds. At any point in their life, their chance of dying is roughly the same, often due to things like predation that aren't strictly age-related.
Okay, that makes sense. Understanding those curves definitely helps categorize different life strategies.
For sure.
All right, let's shift to Module 2, Population Dynamics. This is where we get into the letters N and K.
Right, so N is your actual population size, how many individuals are there right now, and K is the carrying capacity.
The maximum number the environment can sustainably support.
Yep, and K isn't static, remember. It's set by limiting factors.
Like food, water, space.
Exactly, resources. And when a population first gets going, maybe in a new environment with plenty of resources, it can grow exponentially. That's the J-shaped curve.
Just shoots straight up.
For a while.
Yeah.
But eventually, those limiting factors start to, well, they kick in.
And the growth slows down.
Right. It starts to level off as it approaches K, forming that S-shaped or logistic growth curve.
But the real world isn't always so smooth, is it? The notes mentioned overshoot.
Yeah. This is crucial. Populations, especially animals, don't always just gently tap the brakes as they hit K.
They blow right past it.
Often, yeah. They keep reproducing for a bit, exceeding the carrying capacity. That's overshoot.
And overshoot leads to
Consequences. Usually a die-off, sometimes a really severe crash. Because now there are more individuals than the environment can support. Resources get depleted.
like those reindeer on St. Paul Island, that classic example.
Perfect example. Introduced, population exploded, went way past K, ate all the lichen,
And then the population plummeted.
crashed hard. It's a stark reminder that exceeding limits has real ecological costs.
Definitely something to remember for the test. Now let's clarify the types of limiting factors. Density dependent versus density independent.
Okay, so density-dependent factors. Their impact gets stronger as the population gets more crowded.
Makes sense, like,
Competition's a big one. More individuals means more fighting for the same limited food or water or nesting sites.
disease spread too, right? Easier to catch something in a crowd.
Absolutely. Pathogens love dense populations. Predation can sometimes be density-dependent too. Predators might focus on an area where prey is abundant.
Okay. And density independent.
These are factors that hit the population regardless of its size or density. Think major environmental events.
Natural disasters.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh.
A hurricane, a severe drought, a flood, a volcanic eruption, a really harsh winter freeze. These things can wipe out individuals whether there are 10 or 10,000. Their impact isn't related to how crowded the population is.
Got it. That distinction seems pretty important.
It is. Helps understand why populations fluctuate.
Now, before we jump into humans specifically, there was this sobering concept mentioned, biospheric degradation.
Right. It's a really big deal in APES. The idea is that for almost all other species on Earth, the carrying capacity, K, is actively decreasing.
Decreasing, not just stabilizing, but going down.
Yeah. Because of human activity, every time we build a new subdivision or a mall or pave a road or clear land for farms.
Or data centers, the notes mentioned.
Or data centers, right? We are altering habitats, consuming resources, and essentially reducing the space and the means for other species to survive.
So our N human population is going up, and maybe our K is too, thanks to technology.
Possibly, yeah.
But we're simultaneously shrinking the K for almost everything else.
That's the harsh reality.
Yeah.
We're degrading the biosphere's ability to support other life forms as we make more room and resources available, seemingly, for ourselves. It's a critical connection to make.
Wow. Okay. That puts the human population discussion into perspective. Let's move to Module 3 then. Human demographics. Starting with those age structure diagrams.
Yeah, the population pyramids. They're like a snapshot of a country's demographic situation and its future.
So the pyramid shape, the wide base.
That's rapid growth. Lots of young people, fewer older people. Typical developing countries, often linked to factors like lower levels of female education, kids needed for labor, that sort of thing historically.
And the column or tower shape. More even across age groups.
That suggests slower, stable growth, like the US, Canada, Sweden maybe. Birth rates and death rates are both low and roughly balanced. The population isn't really shrinking or booming.
Okay, and the upside-down pyramid. Narrow base.
That's negative growth or population decline. Fewer young people than middle-aged or older people. You see this in places like Japan, Italy, Spain. Birth rates have fallen below the replacement level.
And these shapes relate directly to the demographic transition model, the DTM?
Absolutely. The DTM basically describes the shift in birth and death rates as a country develops. It's a model. Remember, not every country follows it perfectly, but it's a useful framework.
It has stages, right? 5 of them.
Usually described with 4, sometimes 5 stages. Stage 1, pre-industrial. High birth rates, high death rates. Lots of births, but lots of deaths from disease, famine. So very slow or no growth.
Okay, stage 1, high and high, then stage 2.
Stage 2, death rates plummet. This is huge. Improvements in sanitation, clean water, medicine, food production. People stop dying so young.
But birth rates?
They stay high. For a while, anyway. So, high births, low deaths. What happens?
Population explosion.
Exactly. That's the period of rapid growth. Many developing countries are in this stage or moving out of it.
Then stage 3 is when things start to slow down again.
Right. In stage 3, the birth rate finally starts to drop. This is key.
Why? What causes that drop?
It's a complex, tied to socioeconomic changes. Urbanization is a big factor. Kids become less of an economic asset on a farm and more of an expense in the city.
Education costs, less need for child labor.
Exactly. Plus, increased access to contraception, and critically, the rising status and education of women.
Ah, the education link. That came up in the notes a lot.
It's arguably the single most impactful factor. When women are more educated, they tend to have fewer children later in life. They have more control over their reproductive choices, more career opportunities.
So education lowers the total fertility rate, the TFR.
Directly correlated. Big time.
Okay, so stage 3 is falling birth rates, slowing growth, then stage 4.
Stage 4 is considered developed. Low birth rates, low death rates. The population stabilizes, maybe even fluctuates a little around zero growth. I'm thinking most of Western Europe, North America.
And stage 5, is that official?
It's kind of the anticipated next step stage. I'm seeing it in some places. Birth rates fall below the death rate. So the total population actually starts to decline.
Like Japan or Italy now.
Yep. Driven by factors like, high cost of living, lifestyle choices, people prioritizing careers or other things over large families, maxed out healthcare, keeping people alive longer maybe.
It's a mix.
Okay, that model makes sense. Let's quickly hit the calculations mentioned, doubling time and IPAT.
Right. Doubling time, useful rule of thumb is the rule of 70. You take 70, divide it by the percentage growth rate.
And that gives you the approximate number of years for the population to double.
Yep. Simple, but handy. And then IPAT. This one's important for understanding our impact.
IPOX, PXAXT.
Impact equals population times affluence times technology.
So P is just the number of people, right? A is affluence, basically, per capita consumption, how much stuff each person uses.
And T is technology, which can be tricky, right? It can increase or decrease impact.
Exactly. A new technology might be more efficient and reduce impact, or it might allow us to exploit resources more intensely and increase impact. But the A, affluence, is really key when comparing developed versus developing nations.
Because wealthy countries consume way more per person.
Massively more. Even if a developing country has a higher population growth rate, P, the high consumption, A, in a wealthy country often means its total environmental impact is much, much greater.
That's the whole ecological footprint idea. Like if everyone lived like the average American.
We need multiple Earths, yeah. So affluence, that consumption level, is a huge driver of environmental impact, not just the sheer number of people.
It connects everything back, resource use, carrying capacity, degradation.
It really does.
Okay, so wrapping up, we've covered RK strategies, survivorship, population dynamics with N and K, overshoot, limiting factors, human demographics with the DTM and age structures, and the IPE equation. Seems like the core stuff.
Yeah, that covers the main concepts from the materials you said.
So for a final thought, something provocative, maybe. The notes touched on humans being ultrasocial, our group instincts.
Right, this idea that our ability to cooperate, to live in dense groups, is maybe what led to our intelligence and dominance.
But that same instinct, maybe, makes us prone to the tragedy of the commons, everyone maximizing their own game from a shared resource until it collapses.
It's a huge tension, isn't it? Garrett Hardin's idea. Freedom to breed, freedom to consume, potentially leading to ruin if the resource is shared and finite.
So here's the thought to leave you with. Our social nature got us here, this incredible success as a species. But does that same nature, combined with our modern affluence and technology, put us on an unavoidable path toward overshoot and die off like those reindeer? Or can that unique cooperation, that same social wiring, allow us to find a collective solution, a societal fix, maybe through policy or innovation, or just widespread behavioral change to manage our impact before we degrade the commons beyond repair?
That's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? Can our intelligence and cooperation overcome our individual and group consumption drive? Something to definitely mull over as you study.